For me, I would say the turning point for our country was 1913 when we passed the 17th Amendment. And what's
So like back when like women couldn't vote?
Yeah, well, back up, but again, let's
Like that
go
was
back.
like, that's kind of your sweet spot right there.
Absolutely, but 1913.
What year was America great?
When it was founded.
Except for the slavery stuff.
Except for the slavery stuff, you know?
I think we were probably our strongest immediately post-World War II.
So around the 1950s?
Yeah, mid-40s, 50s.
I mean, I think the 50s was great other than, segregation and women's rights.
Look, we could sit here and paint negative faces of all times in America.
Correct.
It's Make America Great Again. So when was the last great?
It's always been great.
If it's always been great, what are we trying to go back to?
We're not going back. We're going forward.
Well, I guess the 80s were pretty good. Right, the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s, great music, great
Crack
video
cocaine?
games, crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Well, we're always great. The people are great.
So America is great right now. So we did it.
No, we didn't do it.
America became great when the founding fathers put pen on paper in 1776 and decided to build a country based on laws.
Right.
That was greatness.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Other than the slavery, obviously, that was terrible. And
We did have that. Yeah, we did have that. And the Indian thing, right?
that was terrible. And the women's voting thing. But other than that, that was awesome.
A few hiccups along the way, you know. Like they say, nobody made it to the top without breaking a few pieces of china. That wasn't an insult, by the way.
Alright, Shalom. Call hello Yamla, Allah Yanawa Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yabashai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors be to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, the house of David, Habayath Madabada. The brothers is laboring to make their calling of election sure on the four corners of the earth, day in and day out. To the listeners, the brothers and sisters, the Akim and Akwafim, who listen and believe on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to you I say Shalom as well. So Shalom to the hopeful elect. This the brother Sakalah coming back with another lesson through the Spirit and power of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua, by Hashem Rachakwadash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. So, as you saw the video, the question was being asked and spoken of about America being great. So through the precepts, we're going to see that America, Babylon the Great, as it's known in the Bible, was never great. And the Most High is going to destroy America because of the great wickedness that it possessed. So the great wickedness of Babylon is going to lead to the greatest judgment ever given, since the world was. And that's going to be the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which is the Most High. So I start my first precept in the book of Luke 17 and 29. Luke 17 and 29, it reads, "But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all." Verse 30, "Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed." So speaking of the time that's to come, speaking of the destruction of Babylon the Great, it's prophesied in the Bible that we're going to see through the precepts. Verse 31, "In that day, which is the coming of the Son of Man, which is likened unto the time when fire and brimstone was rained from heaven." It says, "In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in his house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not turn back. Remember Lot's wife." So it's telling us here to remember Lot's wife. Why would it speak of remembering Lot's wife? Because Lot's wife was destroyed. She was made a pillar of salt. So, Babylon is likened unto Sodom and Gomorrah, spiritual Sodom and Egypt when you read the Bible. So the Most High, is going to destroy Babylon the Great, because Babylon was never great. Once again, it was only great in wickedness. So as we continue on, let's get the book of Matthew here in a second. Matthew 11 and 24 reads, "But I say unto you, that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in that day of judgment than for thee. And that then for thee is speaking about those that will be back in this time, you know. So in this time, we're seeing that this place through the Spirit is falling already. It's crumbling. So in the time of this destruction, Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be, you know, it says was going to be better than for thee in this time, for those that's going to be destroyed here in Babylon. You know, the 2/3 and the wicked and the heathen. Matthew 11:24 again. But I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. Verse 25, Matthew 11:25. At that time, Yahushua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. So those babes are speaking of the elect, the poor of the earth, the humble, the meek, the lowly. So the elect have this understanding, which precepts with 1 Corinthians, the 1st chapter, you know, where the scriptures tell you that the Most High, you know, he's not dealing, you know, with the mighty and the renowned. You know, that not many mighty or renowned are called, but the poor of the earth. Speaking of what? Speaking of the understanding of this word. It's only given to the meek, which is the elect. So Yahushua prayed to the Father and thanked him for not revealing it unto the wise and the prudent of this world, those, you know, in this world who are the mighty, which goes into those with great influence. But he revealed them unto the babes, which is the elect, you know, the true meek of the earth. So Babylon was never great, and Babylon the Great, which is Babylon the Great in wickedness, is going to be destroyed. There's another precept going into that. Nahum 3:1, and it reads, showing you that Babylon was never great. Woe to the bloody city, which is another name for Babylon. It is full of lies and robbery, because Babylon was established on rape, robbery, and murder. The prey departeth not. And that's Jake, that's you Israelites, you 12 tribes, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You depart not, because, you know, Judah and Israel, the Bible says, were oppressed together, you know. And those that took them captive, you know, they didn't allow for our people, you know, to be given release from their captivity. They kept them as slaves, perpetual slaves. And we see that continually now in the times that we're in this day. So it says, woe to the bloody city, Nahum 3:1. It is full of lies and robbery. And we saw that in the video. You know, nothing but lies. You know, and the robbery is the robbery, the theft, and robbery of the land from the so-called Native Americans and Latinos, taking the Southern tribe and bringing them over here and putting the Southern tribe into subjection as well. That's the lies and the robbery the Bible speaks of. So America was never great. Once again, America was only great in wickedness from the inception. Going down to verse 6, Nahum 3:6, and it reads, I'll start at verse 4, Nahum 3:4. Because of the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, which is Babylon, the mistress of witchcrafts. So this place is known as the mistress of witchcrafts. So none but witchcraft is in the midst of Babylon, that selleth nations through her whoredoms. And that's why it precepts with Revelation, the 17th and 18th chapter, the 18th more notably, because it speaks of Babylon deceiving the nations. It says that selleth nations through her whoredoms. What are those whoredoms? You know, all of the philosophies, the wine, you know, that's what made the nations drunk. They've been drunken with the philosophies. See, the power of Babylon is allowed Babylon to, you know, incite wickedness onto all the nations. And it says, which selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So this place is nothing but witchcraft here. Whether you're speaking about Hollywood, TV shows, the so-called morals, them saying that they live by the Bible, which is the law of the land, which they don't. All of their laws being mischief, the scriptures speak of. You know, the system of capitalism and commerce, which is theft of the people, usury, etc. Verse 5, Nahum 3 and 5, behold, I am against thee. The Most High said he's against Babylon. So there's no way in hell Babylon is great in the eyes of the Most High. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame. So the Most High, like it says in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, is revealing the man of sin unto the nations. So that man of sin is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So he said he's going to reveal their shame to the nations. Verse 6, Nahum 3 and 6, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee. That's going to be after these missiles drop, because this place is going to be a actual wasteland when you read the Bible. And make thee vile and set, and I will set thee as a gazing stock. This is going to be a monument unto all generations for what happens when wickedness reaches its zenith. This is what happens when wickedness overly pollutes the whole earth, because the Bible tells you, because wickedness, has abundantly polluted the whole earth. I'm paraphrasing. That's the reason why the Most High is going to destroy this place, because wickedness, has exceedingly. That's the word that is used, because wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. I believe that's in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. So Babylon has never been, nor will it ever be known as great. Once again, it will only be known as great in wickedness. And that monument that's going to be left is going to be, the smoke that's going to burn up forever and ever, the Bible says. So that monument is going to be what's going to be shown to, show the wickedness of Babylon, the great wickedness, the treachery. So continuing on with the next precept. I'm going to go to the book of, let's go to the book of Matthew 11. So it's the book of Matthew 11 and 24 that reads, I already got that. Salakia. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 13 and 9. Or 13 and 19. So it's Isaiah 13 and 19, and it reads, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So we see that common theme over and over again being repeated, that Babylon is going to be like Sodom and Gomorrah, because it's known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt, So next precepts right in with Isaiah 47 and 1. And it reads, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Same thing is said in Isaiah 13 and 19. It says, sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Babylon's not being looked on as this, great shining light on the hill. Come unto me, all the huddled masses yearning to be free. Come unto me and I will give you liberty. And that's what that symbol of Lady Liberty is, which is a symbol of freedom and justice for all. Now Babylon is being known as everything but that. They're being known as the opposite. Land of witchcraft and whoredom, a land of sodomites, a land of abominations and filth. Isaiah 47 and 2, take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. That's showing this place is being exposed. Verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man, speaking of Yahushua. Hamashiach Yahushua, when he comes back upon his return, he's not coming back as he left. He's coming back in his full angelic power, to destroy this place. As it says in Psalm, the 110th chapter, that the Most High is going to strike through kings and fill the places with the dead bodies. So that shows you that Yahushua is not coming back the way that he left. He's coming back in his full glory. And not only is he coming back in his full glory, but he's also coming back, with all the power of heaven and earth that the scriptures speak about, which shows you what? It shows you that Mashiach Yahushua, is coming back for rulership. The scripture says he's going to have many crowns on his head. Verse 4, Isaiah 47:4, as for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh Shemi of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get into darkness. So Babylon's going to be cast into utter darkness. Why? When those missiles hit, it's going to be completely destroyed. It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. Once again, a reference to Lady Liberty, a reference to the proposed, mantra of Babylon, which is freedom for all, which is the land of the free, of the home of the brave, etc. Verse Isaiah 47:6, I was wroth with my people, the Most High put us into slavery. I polluted mine inheritance because of disobedience, and given them into thine hand. So the Most High gave us over. He took his hedge of protection off of the nation of Israel for disobeying him, not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, serving other gods, believing in other gods, taking on the ways of the different lands in which we were held captive. It says, thou didst show them no mercy upon the ancient, thou hast very heavily laid thy yoke. So they showed us no mercy. Verse 7, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter ends. So they didn't remember the latter end of it, which is that the prophecies say that Babylon was going to be completely destroyed. So they didn't lay it or consider the latter end. Didn't consider that there will ever be judgment for all of the wickedness. Verse 8, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasure, speaking of Babylon, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine own heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. So Babylon, America believes, that what's coming to it is not going to happen, and the people believe that as well. Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day the loss of children, which is going to be the true destruction of this place here on mainland Babylon, and widowhood. It's going to be many, people that's going to be left without sons and fathers, because they're going to die in the war, World War III. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, the mistress of witchcraft, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So this place is going to be destroyed because of all the wickedness of it. So the Most High, when you read Revelation 18:5, 4 through 5, it speaks about how the Most High have remembered her iniquities, and the sins of Babylon have reached unto heaven. So Babylon never was great, and Babylon, is going to be destroyed. The Most High is not, going to have any mercy, on the wicked. So the scriptures tell us that, no mercy will be shown to them that showed no mercy. So continuing on, just getting that precept that I quoted. Let me get it real quick. So this is the book of, before I close this out, this is the book of Revelation 18. And I'll start at verse 4. At verse 3, for all nations, Revelation 18:3, all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, which is Babylon, America, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquity. So the Most High remembered all the wickedness of this place. Verse 6, reward her even as she hath rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So that's the mindset of Babylon, of Esau, here in Babylon. Verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine And that famine is going into the famine of the word and the famine of food. And she shall be utterly burned with fire. And that's speaking of the nuclear missiles. For strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. Speaking of the Most High through Yahweh Shai. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, which is going to burn forever. Verse 18, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So it's only going to take 1 hour for this place to be completely destroyed, you know? So that's showing you the power of the Most High Yahweh Shai, verse 16. And saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. So the great riches of this place, all of the power, the military power, you know, all of the economic, you know, prowess that Babylon has shown over the nations, it says in 1 hour is it going to come to naught, you know? So Babylon, you know, is going to be destroyed. Continuing on, Revelation 18 and 17, for in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein we're made rich, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Speaking of the destruction of Babylon. So that's how the Most High sees Babylon. Verse 20, in my last verse, Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. So the Most High is going to avenge the elect or Babylon, you know, is going to destroy this place. Verse 21, and a mighty angel took up a millstone, or took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So that's the actual time with Sodom and Gomorrah. Babylon is the tie with it is going to be destroyed utterly, like Sodom and Gomorrah. Call Halo Yamla, Allah Yanawa Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who have labored faithfully in His truth and are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Habayath Madawada, the house of David, who have awakened on the four corners of the earth, and who labor to make their call of election sure, day in and day out, to seal the elect. To the listeners, the brothers and sisters who truly listen and believe on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, to you I say Shalom as well. Abba Babal, Kwam Yasha Allah. Abba Babal, Kwam Yasha Allah. Barak Ha Kodash Ayar Yerushalayim.